When Lord Ram, goddess Sita, and Lakshmana entered the forests of Panchavati during their exile, they believed they were stepping into silence, a land far removed from the noise of kingdoms and politics. Yet Panchavati was no ordinary forest. It was a living, breathing witness to Dharma, a sacred land where even nature was awakened by the presence of the divine. Panchavati lay on the banks of the holy river Godavari, surrounded by 5 ancient banyan and fig trees from which the forest took its name. These trees were not merely old, they were conscious, having stood since ages when sages walked freely between worlds. They had absorbed the vibrations of countless yajnas, mantras, and tapas performed by rishis who once lived there. Over time, the forest itself had become sentient. When Lord Ram chose Panchavati as their home, the forest stirred. The trees felt his presence before he ever touched the ground. Leaves trembled without wind, birds fell silent, and the earth seemed to sigh in relief, as if Dharma itself had returned to rest beneath their shade. As Lord Ram built a humble hut of leaves and branches, the trees watched silently. They recognized him, not merely as a prince in exile, but as Vishnu himself, the preserver of cosmic order. The trees had witnessed earlier avatars, cosmic cycles, and the rise and fall of ages. They knew that Lord Ram's arrival marked a turning point in the destiny of the world. It is said that at dawn and dusk, when Sita watered the plants and offered prayers to the forest spirits, the trees responded. Their leaves rustled in patterns that carried meaning. Their branches bent gently as if bowing. The wind carried whispers, not in human language, but in felt understanding. Sita, whose soul was deeply attuned to nature, sensed their presence and often spoke softly to them, as one would speak to old friends. Lakshmana, ever vigilant, once noticed that when danger approached, the forest behaved strangely. Animals would flee silently. Vines would tighten across paths, and trees would creak. Not from age, but as if warning the land itself. Panchavati was not passive. It was protective. The sages believed that these trees were once rishis themselves, cursed or blessed to remain rooted until Dharma returned in human form. Others said they were guardians, appointed by Brahma to protect sacred lands during Kali's gradual rise. Whatever their origin, their awareness was undeniable. The true mystery of the talking trees revealed itself when Surpanakha, Ravana's sister, entered Panchavati. Disguised yet radiating dark desire, she walked through the forest toward Lord Ram's hut. As she stepped beneath the ancient trees, the forest reacted violently. Branches snapped, thorns scratched her skin, and the wind howled unnaturally. The trees whispered warnings, not to her, but to each other. When Surpanakha later returned filled with vengeance, bringing demons to destroy the hermitage, the forest cried out. Trees groaned, leaves shriveled, and the ground trembled. It is said that Lakshmana heard voices that night, not words, but emotions, fear, anger, and grief flowing through the forest like a collective breath. The trees had seen violence before, but never had a Dharma dared to strike so close to Vishnu's resting place. When the golden deer appeared, Maricha in disguise, the trees tried to warn Sita. As the deer leapt and cried out in Lord Ram's voice, the forest fell unnaturally silent. No birds sang, no leaves moved. This silence was the forest's final warning. But destiny could not be altered. After Sita was abducted by Ravana, Panchavati mourned. The trees shed their leaves out of season. Flowers wilted. The river Godavari flowed quietly, as if grieving. When Lord Ram returned and found the hut empty, he questioned the forest itself. Ancient texts and oral traditions say that Lord Ram spoke to the trees, asking if they had seen Sita, and the trees answered, not in human speech, but through movement, vibration, and direction. Branches bent toward the sky where Ravana's chariot had passed. Leaves fell pointing south. Creepers trembled with sorrow. Lord Ram understood. His grief deepened, but so did his resolve. The trees of Panchavati had fulfilled their role, not as witnesses, but as participants in the divine drama. They had sheltered Dharma, warned of danger, mourned injustice, and guided the path toward Lanka. Long after Lord Ram left Panchavati, sages claimed that the forest never returned to normal. Even centuries later, ascetics reported hearing whispers at twilight, sensing presences beneath the trees, and feeling overwhelming peace mixed with sorrow. The talking trees of Panchavati remind us of an ancient truth taught in the Ramayana. When Dharma walks the earth, nature awakens. When adharma rises, nature resists. And when the divine suffers, the world mourns. Panchavati did not speak with mouths, but it spoke with truth, and its voice still lingers for those who are silent enough to listen. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Mythology Medley. Click the bell icon for more such amazing mythological content.